Imagine you wake up tomorrow and every bank in the world is gone. No Visa Paysa, no debit card, no cash, nothing. You need to eat breakfast. But your neighbor has eggs and he doesn't want your money, he wants something you have. Sound crazy? That was literally how billions of humans lived for thousands of years. And the system they used, it was brilliant and absolutely insane at the same time. Welcome to Raw Economics. Today, we go back to before money existed. And what we find might shock you. Let's go back 8,000 years. Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, no malls, no apps, no currency. But people still needed things. A farmer has too much wheat, a hunter has extra meat. A potter just made 50 clay pots and needs grain to feed his family. So what do? They trade wheat for meat, clay pots for grain, animal hides for tools. This is the barter system, humanity's oldest economic system. And get this, historians believe it predates writing, agriculture, and the wheel. Trade is literally one of the oldest human behaviors that exists. The Phoenicians, ancient sea traders from modern-day Lebanon, took it global. They sailed across the Mediterranean trading cedar wood, glass, and purple dye for gold, grain, and silver. No coins, no invoices, just goods for goods, and it actually worked for a while. Here's how a barter deal went down in ancient times. Say you're a farmer. You grew an extra 100 kilos of grain this season, but you need new sandals. You walk to the marketplace, you find a cobbler, a shoemaker, you say, "I'll give you 20 kilos of grain for a pair of sandals." He checks your grain. You check his sandals, you agree, deal done, zero banks involved, simple, right? Now imagine this at scale. Ancient Egypt bartered with Phoenician traders to get timber because Egypt had no forests. They paid in grain, linen, and papyrus. The Egyptians were literally buying trees with paper. Harvard University, yes, one of the most famous universities on earth, accepted firewood, livestock, and grain as tuition payment in its early days. Imagine paying your semester fee with a goat. Your professor has seen everything. Barter worked beautifully in small, tight communities. Everyone knew each other. Everyone's needs were simple and predictable. You needed bread. Your neighbor needed your skills. Done. But here's where it gets interesting and painful. As societies grew bigger, barter started to fall apart. And the reason is one of the most fascinating concepts in all of economics. The double coincidence of wants. Economists love this term. Let me explain it in plain English. Imagine you're a musician. You play guitar at the local market, you finish your set, you're hungry. You go to a food stall and offer, "I'll play you 3 songs in exchange for a meal." But the food stall owner doesn't want music. He wants shoes, so you go to the cobbler, you offer music for shoes, but the cobbler, he needs wheat, not a guitar solo. You walk to the farmer. The farmer actually loves music, but he only grows carrots. And you can't eat enough carrots to survive. You spend your entire day trying to trade your music and go to bed hungry. This is the double coincidence of wants. For a barter deal to happen, both people need exactly what the other has, at exactly the right time and place. Economists estimate this was incredibly rare and incredibly exhausting. Here's another brutal problem. How do you save your wealth? If you're a dairy farmer, your currency is milk, but milk spoils in 3 days. So your savings literally expire. Imagine your entire life savings turning sour every week. And divisibility, that's a nightmare too. If you want to buy something worth half a cow, congratulations, you cannot cut the cow in half and hand it over. The bigger societies got, the more barter choked itself to death. Now here's something your economics teacher probably didn't tell you. Barter never actually died. When Germany's economy collapsed after World War I, people were literally exchanging cigarettes, chocolate, and silk stockings as currency because the official money was worthless. After the 2008 financial crisis, when banks froze and credit dried up, barter exchanges around the world reported double-digit growth in membership. When your money stops working, humans go back to basics. We barter. And in the 21st century, barter went digital. Companies today run multi-billion-dollar barter deals. Airlines swap routes with hotels. Media companies trade advertising time for services. Corporate barter is now a massive, sophisticated industry. There are entire online platforms where people swap skills, time, and goods without a single rupee changing hands. The 8,000-year-old system, it adapted, it survived, it's still here. Because at its core, barter is just humans being human, figuring out how to cooperate and exchange value. No matter what tools we have. So next time you tap your phone to pay for something, remember. That simple swipe is the end result of 8,000 years of human economic evolution. We went from, here's 50 kilos of grain for your timber, to a fingerprint and a beep. But the problem barter tried to solve, how do humans exchange value with each other, that problem never changed. Only the tools did. Tell me in the comments, if money disappeared tomorrow, what skill or item would you barter with? I'm genuinely curious. And if this video made you think about economics differently, smash that subscribe button, because on Raw Economics, we don't just explain money. We explain the world behind money. See you in the next one.